Michael Fassbender's journey from the outskirts of County Kerry to global recognition in film has always reflected a certain precision, an intense emotional clarity fused with a quiet ferocity.
And put a barren sceptre in my grip, thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand.
But for all the talk of his magnetism and steely composure, Fassbender himself would rather point the spotlight elsewhere. When asked about the actors who truly moved him, who taught him, who shaped his own craft, his answers are reverent. There's no self-aggrandizing, only admiration. For Fassbender, studying acting meant watching masters at work, figures whose commitment, charisma, or unpredictability left lasting impressions. Marlon Brando was the first. Not just the first influence, but the first obsession. He was front and center, Fassbender once said. He had a raw power, like he could say everything with his eyes. Brando's early performances in films like On the Waterfront and A Streetcar Named Desire introduced Fassbender to an actor who seemed to operate beyond traditional technique. It wasn't acting as much as it was being, he explained, adding that Brando just existed on screen with all his contradictions. Fassbender watched those films repeatedly in his teens, studying the shifts in Brando's posture, the cadence of his voice, the physical looseness that carried so much tension. It wasn't just the roles, it was the way Brando made emotion seem accidental. Because Brando set the bar so high, Fassbender entered drama school with a healthy sense of intimidation. But this reverence for Brando didn't discourage him, it gave him a benchmark. His deep respect for Brando's unpredictability fed into Fassbender's own willingness to be vulnerable on screen. This admiration led him to other actors who channeled that same kind of fire. Gene Hackman, according to Fassbender, was the real deal. There was no artifice in Hackman's acting, only precision and weight.
On the night of the murders, you made a short speech as the bulldozer buried the kids in the dam. How does Lester tell it?
Fassbender cited him as the actor I watch when I want to remember what honesty looks like on screen. What he loved most was Hackman's ability to disappear completely into a role. You never caught him acting, even when the scenes were loaded, especially then. Fassbender pointed to The French Connection and Mississippi Burning as examples. He could play a brute, a bureaucrat, a father, and it never felt like he was changing gear. He just was that guy. It wasn't about transformation in the theatrical sense. Hackman had a stillness and inner tension that spoke volumes. He trusted the camera to come to him, Fassbender said. That notion, to underplay, to avoid telegraphing emotion, left a huge impact on him. Fassbender's own performances in films like Hunger and Shame have often been praised for their control and restraint.
She said I can go to Jason's for a half hour, but I have to be home by 5 for dinner.
Okay, that's great. See? Best of both worlds. You got everything you want.
Yep.
You happy?
That same tension beneath the surface, a hallmark of Hackman's best work, is present in Fassbender's screen choices. Hackman's example also encouraged Fassbender to take risks without flash, which led him to the actors he considered masters of simmering intensity. If Brando embodied spontaneity and Hackman was the ultimate technician, Robert De Niro brought method to a new level.
What am I? What draws my admiration? What is that which gives me joy?
James!
Fassbender called him the architect of a new kind of immersion. I must have watched Raging Bull 20 times, Fassbender once said. It wasn't just the weight gain, it was the vocal cadence, the way his body changed, how he used silence.
You thought I was fooling around, didn't you? Tell me the truth. I'm going to fool around. That's in your mind.
Yeah, so what?
That championship belt on me, that's when I fool around.
De Niro's preparation famously bordered on obsession. That dedication appealed to Fassbender, who admired the ritual of disappearing into a part. He showed me how much work goes in before you even step on the set, he said. He made it okay to be that focused. What impressed him even more was De Niro's ability to keep a character interior. He never explained anything, he just lived it. Fassbender said he often thinks about De Niro's quiet moments, a gesture, a pause, a blink that said more than dialogue. This admiration helped shape Fassbender's approach to physical transformation. Whether playing Bobby Sands in Hunger or a slave owner in 12 Years a Slave, Fassbender's method became about understanding rhythm, breath, and energy shifts rather than theatrics. De Niro's consistency across genres, comedy, drama, action, also influenced Fassbender's own choices. And those choices soon drew him to actors with similar range. Al Pacino, in Fassbender's eyes, was all about urgency.
He was a Yankee. He used to take me a lot to the movies, you know. I learned, I watched the guys.
He made every word feel like it had to be said right now, or it would explode in his throat, Fassbender once noted. There was a musicality to Pacino's voice, especially in his early roles. Dog Day Afternoon, that's the one that really got me, Fassbender said. He's manic, terrified, fragile, desperate, and it's all happening in real time.
You're starting to get on my nerves.
See that? Put it in your holster!
We're entertainment, right? What do you got for us?
I ain't going back to that prison, Sonny.
Fassbender admired Pacino's ability to channel high emotion without ever losing control. You can feel the engine revving underneath, but it never goes off the rails, he explained. That tension, the balancing act between chaos and control, fascinated him. He also admired Pacino's commitment to theatre. He never stopped treating the stage as the foundation, Fassbender said. That dedication reminded Fassbender to keep sharpening his own craft between films, to return to the basics of breath and projection. Pacino's combination of theatricality and truth-telling led Fassbender to value presence as much as precision. But presence alone wasn't enough. He also wanted to learn how to carry subtlety across time and place. It may surprise some that Fassbender holds Vivian Lee in such high regard, but for him, she represented something rare, an actress whose power lay in controlled collapse.
Yes.
Ecstatically?
Yes.
No doubts?
No.
No reservations?
No.
No defeatism?
No.
She was devastating, he said. There's a heartbreak to her even when she's playing strong. He singled out her performance in A Streetcar Named Desire, opposite Brando, as one of the most compelling portrayals of inner fracture he'd ever seen. She wasn't just playing Blanche Dubois, she was unraveling in front of us. What struck Fassbender most was Lee's ability to convey layers, pride, delusion, vulnerability, without turning it into melodrama. It felt like she'd swallowed a storm, he said. Fassbender also admired her work in period pieces, where the roles required restraint and diction, but still demanded emotional truth. She brought modernity to those characters. She wasn't stiff, she burned. Her example helped him approach historical or stylized material with a human center, and that sensitivity led him to one of his most enduring influences. Meryl Streep is probably the best we have, Fassbender said in a BAFTA roundtable. She's not just versatile, she makes it look effortless.
After all these lies I have told.
Tell me why.
There are so many things you don't understand. So many things that I can't tell you.
He recalled watching Sophie's Choice and being stunned by the quiet detail of her suffering. She doesn't show you what she's doing, but you feel it in your gut. Fassbender noted how her commitment to language, dialect and posture made her unrecognizable from one film to the next. She builds character from the ground up, he said, and she never looks like she's showing off. That's the trick. He also praised her lack of ego in ensembles, where she never dominated but always elevated others. There's a generosity to her work that I really try to emulate. Fassbender began to appreciate that humility could be just as powerful as force. Which brings us to the actors he's worked with, who helped refine that ethos. Fassbender has spoken warmly about Brad Pitt, particularly after working with him on Inglourious Basterds and 12 Years a Slave. "He's incredibly generous, both as a person and as a performer," he said.
So y'all get in trouble in there. What are we supposed to do, make bets on how it all comes out?
If we get into trouble.
Pitt, in Fassbender's eyes, doesn't get enough credit for his discipline. He makes it all look so easy, but that takes work. He knows when to lead and when to support. In their scenes together, Fassbender admired how Pitt could relax into the moment and trust it. "That gave me space to try things. There's no tension around him." He also noted that Pitt was heavily involved behind the scenes as a producer, and yet still brought full commitment to the acting. There's a real passion there, not just for his own performance, but for the story. Fassbender saw in Pitt a model for how to be both ambitious and unassuming. That balance impressed him in another veteran actor he greatly respects. Colin Firth, according to Fassbender, is proof that you don't have to raise your voice to raise the stakes. He was struck by Firth's ability to draw emotion from silence.
I have received.
He doesn't push, Fassbender once said. He listens, reacts, gives you space, and somehow still holds the center of the scene. Fassbender found Firth's performance in The King's Speech especially moving. There's pain and dignity there, but it's all in the eyes and the breath. What Fassbender took from Firth was the value of preparation. He's incredibly methodical. He works through the story like a craftsman. He also admired Firth's ability to carry emotional arcs over long stretches. You believe the journey, every beat is earned. That kind of patience reminded Fassbender to avoid shortcuts, even in high-stakes drama, and few actors embody that same respect for the craft as his final influence. Fassbender referred to Judy Dench as someone he venerates. Working with her, even briefly, was an experience he likened to watching someone conduct electricity.
Have a care with my name, you will wear it out. The Queen of England does not attend exhibitions of public lewdness, so something is out of joint.
She's got this authority without ever having to impose it, he said, and then she'll turn around and tell a filthy joke and put everyone at ease. Fassbender admired how Dench brought warmth to even the coldest roles. She never plays the villain, she plays people with needs and regrets. Her presence on set reminded Fassbender that legacy isn't built on reputation alone. It's built on how you show up every day, every scene, every take. He often returns to her performances in Notes on a Scandal and Philomena, two completely different women, but both lived in every glance. Watching her helped him understand how to balance weight with wit, command with kindness. And it's that balance between intensity and grace that has quietly become Fassbender's hallmark.